Swadika, distinguished speakers and participants from around the world. Greetings from Thailand and welcome to the National Conference on Thailand's Bio-Circular Green Economy Model, Awareness Raising, Capacity Building, and International Perspectives. This event wraps up the seminar series we have delivered over the recent months. Myself is Montip Sriratana, Project Advisor with the National Research Council of Thailand and former Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment of Thailand, serve as moderator. Over the past 4 months, a series of seminars have been delivered covering the 4 key sectors on which the BCG economy model focus in Thailand, namely BCG and the food and agriculture sector. The second one, BCG and the health and well-being sector. Third one, BCG and the bioenergy, biomaterial and biochemical sector. And fourth one, BCG and the tourism and creative economy sector. The seminar series provided the detailed focus on each BCG relevant development sector, explaining how the BCG economy model relates to each sector and showcasing actual and proposed applications of BCG in the country. The National Conference further provides a platform for presentations by authorities and experts and shares summary findings and conclusions from the seminar series and identify priority actions and opportunities for future application of BCG economy model in Thailand and also regionally. Salient findings and conclusions will be informed to government for their considerations, including possible relevance to the 2022 APEC Summit. To open this event, we are honored to have message from 2 key organizations that have made this seminar series and this conference possible. First, I call on Dr. Viparat Diong, Executive Director, National Research Council of Thailand or NRCT, to deliver a welcome message. Please.
Distinguished speakers and participants, greeting to all. It's my great pleasure and honor to deliver opening remarks for the National Conference on Thailand Bio-Circular Green Economy Model, Awareness Raising, Capacity Building, and International Perspective. I'm deeply grateful to the partner organization of the National Research Council of Thailand, namely Mahidol University, in collaboration with the United Nations Resident Coordinator Office in Thailand, National Science and Technology Development Agency, National Economic and Social Development Council, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the ASEAN Institute of Technology. I thank all speakers and moderators and their respective organizations, namely the Ministry of Commerce, the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, ASEAN Development Bank, National Science and Technology Development Agency, and Mahidol University for their contribution in making this conference possible. NRCT, the principal organization in Thailand, which guided the development of the country and public policy by using research, including the integration and the administration of national research budget, leading up to the concrete utilization. NRCT administers research work with professional standards by using moral principles to reach achievement. NRCT employs this value and principle in its delivery of research and development program in alignment with the UN Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goal or SDG, including the implementation of the biocircular green economy model in the country. The Royal Thai government has sponsored a number of events to introduce the BCG economy model to Thailand private sector, government officials, and other stakeholders. The Sammana series and this conference build on this event by sponsoring discussion between Thai and international experts on the BCG economy model, its intended impacts, and how experience, both domestic and international, may have lessons for BCG as implementation move forward in the country. The BCG economy model represents a strategy to drive the country's economic and social development. As such, is expected to provide further impetus for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goal. In addition, the BCG economy model is expected to be a focus of discussion at the 2022 Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation or APEC Summit, hosted by Thailand. I'm confident that the outcome of the Sammana series and this conference will be valuable in learning the status of BCG economy model implementation in the country. Again, I thank all partner organizations and stakeholders, and I wish the Sammana well. Thank you.
Distinguished participants, colleagues, and friends, I'm pleased to address you at this important seminar, the fifth in the series on transformative BCG agenda. Today's topic is highly relevant because progress on both the BCG and SDGs requires a whole-of-society approach. This means we need to raise awareness and build capacities nationwide while learning lessons from the international domain. We will especially need to bring young people, including girls and women, front and center to accelerate progress on sustainable development. The importance of this is widely recognized across the UN system and is reflected in the Secretary General's recent announcement to set up a UN Youth Office. However, in order for young people to play a greater role in SDGs and BCG in the coming years, we will need to raise awareness. According to an annual UN survey undertaken with NIDA, only 1 in 5 people in Thailand are familiar with the SDGs. Awareness is even lower among young people, which may seem counterintuitive. But this doesn't mean young people aren't concerned about environment, social, and development issues. I know from my regular meetings with young activists at an advisory panel I have set up on the SDGs that many youth are deeply engaged in sustainability-related endeavors, especially at the grassroots level. They are spearheading initiatives countrywide, from creating meals from food waste for the needy to advocating for a ban on single-use plastics. A way to familiarize youth with sustainability-related issues is for the education system to respond better to the skills and knowledge needs of the BCG agenda. Having more youth overall with the necessary skill sets, including climate literacy, will enable Thailand to capitalize on bioscience and other science-driven fields for innovative nature-based solutions. Simultaneously, we will need to build capacity through greater gender inclusion in STEM fields. In Thailand, girls and women often outperform boys and men in education while having similar rates of digital access and connectivity. However, women remain underrepresented in STEM fields. This needs to change so women can better participate in high-end research and development. Thailand is already ahead of the curve in areas such as clean energy within ASEAN, thanks to its installed renewable capacity of over 15 gigawatts, which accounts for around a third of the country's energy mix. By the end of the decade, it is predicted to rise more than fourfold to over 60 gigawatts. This fast adoption rate can position Thailand as a leader in renewables in Southeast Asia, whose energy needs will likely double by 2040. Thailand can also show leadership in other key sectors, including food security, responsible tourism, healthcare, and climate action. Thailand needs to punch above its weight regionally where it matters most, the collective future of nations within ASEAN. To cement Thailand's achievement domestically and regionally, it will be crucial to direct responsible investments towards sustainability objectives. By investing responsibly in line with BCG and other policy frameworks, domestic champions of the investment world can lend invaluable support to the BCG and other transformative sustainability agendas. An important step in that direction was taken last year at the Sustainable Thailand Forum, co-hosted by the government and the UN, where 43 financial institutions with total assets of about $1.3 trillion committed to action on SDGs and climate. At the same time, the Ministry of Commerce has a clearly defined action plan for driving development predicated on the BCG model, which will aim to build capacity, empower communities, develop human capital, conserve natural resources, and harness the benefits of digitization and innovation to drive sustainable development. In closing, I would like to thank all the distinguished experts for presenting their views today on a range of topics of critical importance on the BCG and the SDGs. I'm very much looking forward to benefiting from their insights. Thank you very much, and Khap Kun Khap.
Thank you both Dr. Viparat Diong and Ms. Gita Sapawal for delivering cordial welcome and inspiring opening messages. We have honor and privilege to have presentations by distinguished authorities and experts. I have honor to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker, His Excellency Mr. Jurin Laksanavisit, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Commerce of Thailand. Deputy Prime Minister Jurin, a politician and author, is the leader of the Democrat Party. He previously held other ministerial positions, including Minister of Public Health and Minister of Education, and have been elected to the House of Representatives in Parliament multiple times. He had previously been the deputy leader of Democrat Party since 2003 for 16 years until his appointment as Democrat Party leader in 2019. Deputy Prime Minister Jurin will speak on bio-circular clean economy model, awareness raising, capacity building, and international perspectives. Excellency, you have the floor, please.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased and honored to deliver a keynote address at today's National Conference on Thailand's BCG model, awareness raising, capacity building, and international perspectives. The event is organized by Mahidol University in collaboration with many other relevant agencies. The objective of this national conference is to provide a platform for presentations of the findings from a series of previous seminars organized by Mahidol University on the 4 targeted sectors of the BCG model. The final purpose is to identify priority actions for future application of the BCG model in Thailand and regionally. Actually, we have had a number of discussion events on the BCG economy model organized on the occasion of Thailand being the host of APEC this year. As for the Ministry of Commerce, we organized the APEC BCG Symposium in May 2022 in Bangkok, Thailand, where we share green and sustainable development policies and business success stories among APEC economies. It is my great pleasure to see the active involvement of Thailand's academic sector in organizing today's event to promote a better understanding of the concept of the BCG model on both national and international levels. Global population growth and economic development through resource utilization without regard to the social and environmental impact have caused significant strain on our national resources. Our traditional manufacturing practices allow pollution and waste to be released into the environmental unrestricted, impacting human, animal, and plant health. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and the current geopolitical climate only made the problem worse. We saw a global recession and its impact on the business sector, especially for micro SMEs. For Thailand, we have established BCG economy model as a sustainable development model and a part of our agenda since 2021. The BCG model is the basis for building our strengths in biodiversity, culture, agriculture, medical services, and tourism to increase our competitiveness and revenues. Our BCG strategy is made up of three main components. First, bioeconomy focuses on utilizing our biological resources through technology such as bioplastic and bioenergy. Second, circular economy focuses on finding the most effective use of natural resources to minimize waste through the reduce, reuse, and recycle measures. Third, green economy focuses on economic development policy that take environmental concerns into consideration. The policy also supports the Sustainable Development Goal, or SDGs, of the United Nations to combat climate change. Economic development through the BCG economy model means that we combine our own assets such as natural resources, cultures, and indigenous knowledge with technology and innovation to produce high-quality goods and services while minimizing waste and environmental impact. The success of the BCG model depends on the private sector's adoption, as the government should be playing the supporting role in reference to the chief principle of private sector-led policy with government supporting. As for the Ministry of Commerce, we have accomplished several projects to develop BCG entrepreneurial skills, especially for micro SMEs. The main activity include capacity building, product development, and innovation, raising awareness of Thailand's BCG products, and self-promotion through online channels and online business matchings. Nearly 5,000 Thai entrepreneurs have benefited from this project, from which more than 5,300 million baht of export revenue have been generated this year. The BCG economy model is a comprehensive environmental protection and conservation approach to tackle several international concerns on sustainability, one of which is the impact of carbon emission on global climate change. With the BCG model, Thailand expects to achieve carbon neutrality in 2050 and net zero emissions by 2065. If we work together to foster the BCG economy model on a regional and global basis, more ambitious goals can soon be reached. These include, first, reducing unemployment. Second, more efficient utilization of resources. Third, increase the competitiveness of the economy. Fourth, generate more income. Fifth, improve income distribution. And sixth, enhance the well-being of the people. Seventh, foster sustainability by utilizing natural resources in an environmentally friendly manner. In a nutshell, the BCG model is Thailand's strategy to revitalize the economy comprehensively, as well as to generate more prosperity, income, and opportunities in the long run. With this model, we can achieve inclusive growth without compromising environmental conservation and biodiversity protection. I'm confident that today's BCG National Conference will provide an opportunity to discuss our experience and find new ways to work together toward our common goal of sustainable development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Mr. Stein Heinzen, Regional Director and Representative, United Nations Industrial Development Organizations, or UNIDO Regional Office in Bangkok. Mr. Stein R. Hansen is an economist who has been working in international development for many years. He is the Regional Director and Representative of UNIDO Regional Office in Bangkok, where he also represents UNIDO in the UN SDG Asia Pacific Regional Directors Group and the UN Regional Coordination Mechanism. Mr. Hansen will speak on applications of bio-circular green economic model for sustainable industrial development in Thailand. Mr. Hansen, you have the floor, please.
On behalf of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, I'm honored to join you all today in this important event focusing on Thailand's vision, the Biocircular and Green Economic Model, or BCG. As Thailand seeks to grow its economy and remain a key source of growth for the region, I believe that inclusive and sustainable industrial development plays an important role in helping Thailand reaching its goal, as well as to accomplish a speedy recovery from the pandemic. UNIDO is the specialized agency of the United Nations with a unique mandate to promote and accelerate the sustainable industrial and economic development. Our motto is Progress by Innovation, which resonates with the BCG model in so many ways. At UNIDO headquarters, we have specific technical divisions dedicated to projects contributing to the BCG model. The Division of Circular Economy and Environmental Protection contributes to greener and more circular industries and products by minimizing both resources use along with the value chains and emissions of pollutants into the environment. UNIDO's Agro-Innovation and Bioeconomy Unit promotes the development of innovative approaches to agricultural and agro-industrial production by looking at new products for industry, new processes and new materials for production, as well as new approaches to climate adaptation and reduction of the potential impacts of climate change. Zooming into UNIDO in Thailand, with a total portfolio of almost $22 million, UNIDO work ranges from green recovery, energy policy, greening scrap metal value chain, demonstration of electric vehicles, circular value chain, to a large project on industrial-urban symbiosis. These projects aim at decoupling environmental impacts from economic and productive activities. In doing so, UNIDO continues to assist Thailand reducing greenhouse gas emissions and toxic chemicals released from various sectors, industry, energy and transport, contributing to the country's commitments to the Stockholm Convention on Persistent Organic Pollutants and the UN Framework on Climate Change Convention. Needless to say, our work contributes to the Thailand's Biocircular Green Economic Model, Thailand's national agenda to promote more inclusive and sustainable growth. Let me highlight some of our work. Firstly, our project application of industry-urban symbiosis and green chemistry for low emission and persistent organic pollutants-free industrial development in Thailand. The project, funded by the Global Environment Facility, or GEF, and implemented by UNIDO, is one of many activities that the Ministry of Industry has executed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The project has been in implementation since 2020. Despite the pressures from COVID-19 pandemic and economic downturn, the factories supported by the projects have implemented various resource efficiency measures, especially the low and medium investment measures. It has been proved that these simple but efficient measures, such as LED replacement, reducing steam pressure, compressed air steam leakage monitoring, switching to more efficient boiler, and optimizing the compressed air system, are very successful measures. They can reduce a high amount of greenhouse gas emissions and reduce the factory's energy cost. For example, the battery factory in Samut Prakan has improved the centralized air compressor system, led to the reduction of approximately 700,000 kilowatt hour of electricity, contributing to an annual carbon emission reduction of 380 tons. One of the highlights activities under the project is providing technical support to Sahapat Industrial Park in Chonburi province. The Sahapat Industrial Park has a vision to improve their energy efficiency and maximize the use of renewable energy, which contribute to carbon emission reduction. As a result, the park has installed solar panels, solar rooftop, and floating solar. The floating solar has generated approximately 680,000 kilowatt hour of electricity, equivalent to 430 tons of an annual carbon emission reduction. Currently, the project is working with the park to expand the floating solar farm and to implement additional energy efficiency measures, which will contribute to further carbon emissions reductions in the future. Next project I would like to highlight is the greening the scrap metal value chain through the promotion of BAT-BEP to reduce UPOP's release from recycling facilities. This project applies to the circular economy principles by greening the scrap metal recycling facilities. Starting in 2018 under the leadership of the Ministry of Industry, the project aims at strengthening and enhancing the implementation of sound management of metal recycling in compliance with the Stockholm Convention. Private sector involvement is among the highlights. 6 recycling facilities, including steel, aluminium, and lead, were selected for the demonstration of the best available techniques and best environmental practices or BAT-BEP measures. 3 facilities have completed the application of the BAT-BEP in their production processes, while the others are expected to complete system installation by the middle of next year, owing to delays related to the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me share some specific results. One of these demonstration facilities has just installed a new pre-treatment and sorting system of aluminium scrap with support by the project. This system would guarantee a high level of selection of the aluminium scrap result in the reduction of toxic chemicals formation during the melting process, and consequently a drastic reduction of the toxic chemicals released into air from its operation. In addition, it reduces fuel consumption, translating into nearly 3 tons of carbon emissions avoided. This facility, as well as other demonstration facilities, will serve as an example and a source of knowledge for other facilities in the metallurgical industry to follow and enhance their own knowledge. This replication effort and effect will help to drive the success of the circular and green industry, and hence contributing to the BCG economic model at large. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my last project to highlight is a macro-level policy project aiming at greening Thailand's economy. The International Institute for Management Development, IMD, ranked Thailand's economic competitiveness to 33rd place out of a total of 63 economies in 2022. Dropping from previous years due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The dynamic and strong economic growth of Thailand in the past decades has come at an environmental and social cost. The country is now faced with challenges in securing resources for green growth and low carbon development. UNIDO is the lead agency of the Partnership for Action on Green Economy, or PAGE, in Thailand. PAGE has pooled the expertise of 5 UN partners, namely UNEP, UNDP, UNITA, UNIDO, and ILO, in collaboration with the UN Resident Coordinator's Office, and works collaboratively with the National Economic and Social Development Council, NESDC, and the other key government agencies. PAGE in Thailand aims to bridge the gaps and priorities for enhancing Thailand's inclusive green economy. At the same time, PAGE aligned its work plan and activities with the government's BCG policy implementation. The PAGE work plan for 2022 is greening Thailand's economy through the following actions. 1. Constructing carbon emissions trading scheme, ETS, that acts as a mandatory carbon cap and trade for major carbon emitters, including fossil fuel consumption-based electricity generation and manufacturing industries. 2. Strengthening biocircular green economic model in agricultural sector, introducing digital technology for agricultural practices and databases, as well as promoting smart farming, doing farming in a smart and effective way. 3. Plugging in financing mechanism for sustainable municipal waste management, equipping the small and local state agencies with the partnership and empowered concept of waste management with tailor-made financing mechanisms and technology. In addition, PAGE has assisted the government in developing SDG and nationally determined contributions NDC-aligned green recovery packages through an in-depth assessment of selected projects under the 400 billion baht Economic and Social Rehabilitation Fund. The preliminary results of selected projects assessments showed positive impacts in selected projects under rehabilitation funds to the economy at the local level. However, some gaps can be improved. The results and policy guidance and recommendation to bridge these gaps will be shared and discussed in a public discourse event in November this year. Subsequently, training modules has been developed and will be delivered as online self-paced course and practical workshop on green recovery in early 2023. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, UNIDO has been working tirelessly to ensure that our projects are contributing to this important national agenda. I would once again like to thank the National Research Council of Thailand for the invitation to be part of this event. I look forward to the continued efforts in helping all pockets of Thai society to improve their lives through the implementation of the biocircular and green economic model. I thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Hansen, for elaborating on UNIDO's policy on progress by innovation and on the various initiatives of UNIDO in the context of BCG economic model for sustainable industrial development in Thailand. Our next speaker is Mr. Jay Roop, Deputy Country Director, Thailand Resident Mission, Asian Development Bank. Mr. Jay Roop has spent many years working with many governments, preparing and implementing large-scale investment projects, technical assistance, and policy advice on sustainable and inclusive flows in developing countries. He has previously held other senior positions at the Asian Development Bank, including Senior Climate Change Specialist and Senior Natural Resource Management Specialist. Mr. Jerup's talk is on sourcing international finance for implementing the BCG model. Mr. Roop, you have the floor, please.
Thank you very much, Kun Montip. I really appreciate the chance to be speaking today. I especially want to thank all of the previous speakers, and especially the keynote speaker, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Commerce, Dr. Lakat Sanawasit. It's been a real pleasure to listen to everybody to speak. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see if I can do. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Dr.
No, not yet.
Okay. Try again. Okay. How about now? Can you see? Can you see the screen now?
Yes, we can see.
Of course.
So
yes.
nice.
Thank
Yes.
you very much. Okay, the question that I've been asked to speak on is sourcing international finance to implement the BCG model. I've been asked because I work at Asian Development Bank and our specialty is international finance. So first, what I thought I would do is just take a minute to describe the BCG challenge from a financing perspective. This is the way that an international financer would look at it. You could have an idea or a project like this gentleman might here on the right, working in agriculture. And that's what we need. We need projects, but these projects need to be technologically sound, and they need to be financially viable. They also need to be developed by credit-worthy proponents. So there are lots of great ideas out there, but some of those ideas just aren't financially viable. And there's other financially viable ideas out there, and they're not technologically sound. And furthermore, no matter what, when it comes to borrowing, you have to be creditworthy. So already you can see there's a number of challenges for BCG before I even go further. But to go further, another challenge that we have, or what's needed, is institutions that have policies and regulations to support replication and upscaling of BCG. We just heard from Stein some really, really interesting examples from UNIDO on demonstration projects. And those are the kind of things that we really like to see from a financing perspective. But of course, it's more than just the project. It's also, does the government have the policies and the regulations to support that type of project? Because it's a new idea. In a regulatory environment, you need regulations to support new ideas. So are there policies and regulations in place to support that new idea, whatever it is? And then finally, you need some sort of innovative finance to attract capital from the international areas. Typically, these are from the bond market and the capital markets, and often they need to provide incentives or some kind of concessional finance. So let me start with a couple of key points about this innovative finance. Thailand is a upper middle income country with a strong base of capital. And in itself, it's able to finance a lot of different activities. But what's difficult for any country, including Thailand, is financing new things. And it's been our experience at ADB that, and it's important sometimes for new ideas to get international finance, because that international financing agency might be familiar with that type of technology or that new idea already and have confidence to invest in it. At ADB, for example, if you take a look at, say, the first solar park in Thailand, the solar energy wasn't new at that time, but it was new for Thailand. And so by ADB being a co-financer, it was able to give confidence to domestic financiers that this is something that you could finance and support. So sometimes you bring in innovative finance to build confidence in the domestic market. So that's one good reason to bring in so-called innovative finance. The other reason is that there are lots of international innovative finance funds that have lower concessional rates. And concessional rates are really important because a lot of these new ideas, they're not automatically viable. Sometimes they need years of tax breaks or low-cost financing in order to become viable. But once they get it, which we've seen in many types of renewable energy, once they become viable, then they no longer need these breaks. So these are some of the three key things that we see as being needed: technologically sound, financially viable projects by creditworthy proponents, institutions and policies that can support them, and finally, some sort of innovative finance, often from international sources, just to get the ball rolling about financing that idea. And one other thing I just want to add about this slide is that it's not just these things, but it's the cooperation between these things. So what we often find in ADB and Asian Development Bank is that you could have projects that are really good, but they haven't been brought forward to financiers, or they haven't been brought forward to financiers in the right way. Or that the policies might exist, but the policies didn't really coordinate very well with the types of projects that are being developed. So these this corporate coordination, communication between projects, institutions, and financial, eventually downstream financiers, they're kind of like weak links right now that we often see. So that's sort of like the overall picture of how we see challenges and opportunities for sourcing international finance to implement BCG. I'd now like to just spend a few slides talking about some of the things that ADB has done as examples within that. First, within the biocircular green economy, just to put everything I showed you in that last slide in a different way, you can see that there's policy development could include action plans and roadmaps, knowledge and capacity building studies, and such as new ideas and bonds initiatives, and access to finance, so project facilities and private capital. So that's in practical terms what could be done within Thailand. So let's look at each of those. Policy development. Again, I'm just talking about what ADB has done. Other development partners have done great work, and I'm sure if they were presenting today, they would show you similar or comparable work. Within ADB, we've been working a lot in the last few years on green infrastructure investment. And you can see we've been preparing, working with government to prepare policies in this in Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand. And all of these are really new. You'll see practically everything that we're talking about is very, very recent. And that's because this is a real new push on green investment. We've been working on green cities and green action plans. And as well, we've been working in clean energy and urban wastewater. So these are all areas where we've been developing policies within the governments to help them. We also have been working on knowledge and capacity building. So for example, innovative finance clinics, where the objective would be for Thailand to support BCG sectors and mobilize private capital. Those are things that finance clinics could do. So to do that, there's a lot of steps. And this is something that we hope to be working with government and the private sector in the coming years, is to help them identify thematic areas and concepts, develop those concepts, remembering what I said at the beginning of my presentation about the importance of them being bankable, technologically sustainable, and also through creditworthy or through stakeholders or proponents that have credit ratings. And then finally, to pitch them through these innovative finance clinics. Remember, again, at the beginning of my presentation, I said part of the problem here is the connection, right, between projects and between financing agencies. So we think that there needs to be this kind of pitch thing. And then finally, some sort of technical assistance to help everything move it along from one step to another. So that's something that ADB does, these sort of innovative finance clinics. And we look forward to doing them for BCG in Thailand as well. We also do roundtables and forums where we share knowledge. We often do this at a regional level, such as the Southeast Symposium, and also at the country level. Here's one for Mindanao, which is in Philippines. And we do thematic knowledge products as well, including green finance strategies, as we produced in this report. Now, I mentioned bonds at the beginning of my presentation, and green, social, and sustainability bonds is something that is really picking up popularity in Asia in general, but especially in Thailand. We think that what we call the GSSB bond program has real potential for supporting BCG in Thailand. So the focus is on accelerating bond issuances from sovereign, city, and state-owned enterprise levels to deepen resource mobilization from domestic and global sources. So this bond initiative really has three types of activities. The first two types are grant funded. So that means that ADB will provide support through on a grant basis. So it's smaller support. And this is really about, the first activity is about capacity and policy development of how to do bonds, which we often do. And because bonds are a new thing for many organizations, and also how to do basically how to develop signature pilot bonds. And then finally, the third activity, which is really through loan mechanism, through lending, is proposed enabling funds and mechanisms. So to utilize ADB sovereign loans to support bond issuances. Now, maybe I'll just stop here and tell you a little bit about green, social, and sustainability bonds, just because you might not be familiar with them. Bonds are used to raise capital. They can do this in the government or in the private sector. You issue bonds, you get money, and you use that money to do certain things. What has become interesting about green, social, and sustainability bonds is that we are learning that those bonds will be purchased at a slightly higher rate than normal bonds. This wasn't the way, several years ago. This is a relatively new thing. So that if you're a state-owned enterprise or a private sector and you want to issue a bond to raise funds, you can get a higher price on the market if it's a green bond or social bond or sustainability bond than just a regular bond. Now, why is that? Why is that? That's because people who are purchasing those bonds, it could be pension funds or companies, often have green, social, or sustainability requirements, and they need to find some way to prove that they are supporting green, social, and sustainable growth. How do you do that? You can purchase bonds. So it becomes very interesting. You get a higher rate for these bonds. And the key thing is that in the bonds, you need to use them for whatever it is you said it was going to be. So if it's green bonds, then you might be using them for renewable energy. Or if it's social bonds, you might be using them for affordable housing. But that works out very well in the BCG model, because that's what BCG is supposed to do. BCG is about supporting, as explained at the beginning of the presentation, how to create development that is biologically friendly, that has sustainable growth, and it can be sustained for a long period of time, bio-circular and green economy. So that works out very well. So to use GSSB bonds for BCG is very straightforward, like from a technical point of view. So we have many different types of, I'm just going to quickly show you. You can request a copy of my PowerPoint later, just in case you want to go through any of it. But we're supporting the government of Indonesia on a SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, Indonesia One platform. This is $150 million for de-risking and providing technical assistance for project development for projects that are supported by the Sustainable Development Goals. So this is like an example of something in Indonesia that's a little bit similar to BCG. We do projects in national solar parks in Cambodia, and also most recently in Thailand with the electric ferries. Those of you that live in Bangkok have noticed those ferries in this photograph going up and down the Chao Phraya River. I believe there's around 27 of them right now. This is the largest and first electric ferry project in Southeast Asia. And it was important to get external financing for that reason that I said at the beginning of the presentation, because on its own, it's a new thing. It's very hard to get domestic financing for something if it's never been done before. So organizations like ADB provide this kind of assurance that the project will be successful. Also, we've done similar projects for walkways and so on. Even these are similar in some ways to BCG, because there are things that help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. These are just walkways to go around Manila. If you've ever been to Manila, you know it's actually pretty hard to walk. So we're providing walkways, and this is actually reducing CO2 emissions, and it's being funded through private sector. So you know that it's a bankable project. Similar for water supply in Cambodia. Now, just to my last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is then, okay, so what kind of concessional financing could ADB provide for BCG in Thailand? Probably the most important one that we have for you is the ASEAN Catalytic Green Financing Facility, ACGF. Now, this is a regional fund. It's country-owned. It's a $2 billion facility under the ASEAN Infrastructure Fund. And its purpose is to accelerate the development of green infrastructure in the region, in the ASEAN region, but also, which includes Thailand, of course, by better utilizing public funds to create bankable projects and to capitalize private capital. So this is really important. It's not just for like government projects. It's also with the idea to catalyze the private sector to do more investment into, in this case, BCG. And we think this is really important for Thailand because, as we know, private sector development is a significant engine for growth in Thailand. The ACGF can be used to help catalyze private capital so that to upscale BCG. You can see at the bottom, there's several different co-financing partners. We're not the only one that is doing this. I'm just speaking today from ADB. There are many, including the AFD, the EU, KFW, the Green Climate Fund, and so on. So just very quickly, as I mentioned, it's a $2 billion facility. It's already has several different green projects that it's financing. It has a pipeline of almost 30 projects already. It's invested into the capital markets within Thailand. It's helped raise $5.6 billion already with the Public Debt Management Office and the National Housing Authority through green, social, and sustainability bonds. Those are the bonds that I was just talking about. It's developing knowledge products with partners on green recovery and green infrastructure. And it's developing, it's providing internal capacity building for many of our different partners. This is just another way to present the same information. So in addition to the ACGF, we also have other concessional financing. That's not the only one that we have. We have the Asian Green Recovery Platform for Thailand. This is really to support green infrastructure projects across Southeast Asia. Right now, we have 4 partners, including the Green Climate Fund, that I think people from Thailand will be familiar with, the European Union, the UK, and a private company called CDP Italy. They've pledged already $665 million to reduce the risks of investments, and it really aims to catalyze another $7 billion of co-financing. We also have a Blue Finance Hub I'm sure many of you have noticed that the importance of supporting the blue economy is really rising around the world. And this is, we have a fund that helps target creating bankable projects in the blue sector right now that is worth in 2024, that will be worth $300 million. Now, saying that, those are ones that Thailand can tap into right away, but there's other funds that Thailand is not yet a member of that ADB manages. The Energy Transition Mechanism, the Climate Innovation Development Fund, and Project Regeneration. These are all funds that have been really recently announced. I put in the years, I think everything is within the last year or two. They're all ones that could be accessed by Thailand if they were able to do that. Right now, for example, the Energy Transmission Mechanism is only in Indonesia and Philippines, but it could be expanded. Same with the Climate and Innovation Development Fund. It's in Indonesia and India. And Project Regeneration is right now Indonesia and Vietnam. So these are things that could be financed in Thailand. So in conclusion, I just want to thank everybody for listening. I think I provided a lot of information, and it might take a while to digest, but just to summarize it, BCG is a great idea for Thailand, but it's also a great idea for innovative finance. And a lot of that innovative finance could come from international organizations or from international or regional funds. But what's really key here is to come up with bankable projects, for those bankable projects to be technologically sound, for them to be proposed by entities that can gain access to credit, and for them to have the institutional structures, such as the policies and regulations within government, to be supported. And finally, so that those are pitched in an adequate way to the financial institutions. With this, I would like to close. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. J. Brook, for providing insights into international finance, which are necessary in advancing the BCG implementations, especially for your insight on ADB's Thailand country partnership strategy, which is well appreciated. Our next speaker is Professor Dr. Sukit Limpi Jamnong, President in National Science and Technology Development Agency of Thailand, or in short, NASDA. Professor Sukit started his academic career at Suratnali University of Technology and became a full professor of physics at a young age. He was a vice rector of Suranari University of Technology and a director of Research Center for Computation and Theory of Thailand Center of Excellence in Physics, where he and his team conducted numerous impactful frontier research on computational materials, on metal oxides, and nanostructure of solids. Professor Lim Pichamnong previously held the position of president of the Institute for the Promotion of Teaching Science and Technology, or IPST, a state-run organization in charge of developing and research of curricula, teaching and learning techniques, and evaluation in science, mathematics, and technology at all education levels. Professor Sukit will speak on bio-circular green economy model, a connection between innovation and economy. Professor Sukit, you have the floor, please.
It is my honor to present the topic of bio-circular green economy model, a connection between innovation and economy. I would like to share with you Thailand's priority agenda on bio-circular green economy, or BCG model, that has been declared the national agenda by Thai government for sustainable development and post-pandemic recovery. BCG model comprises of three components, that is bioeconomy, circular economy, and green economy. The bioeconomy involves the production of renewable bioresources and their conversion into high-value products. The circular economy aims at renewing usage and perpetuating the usefulness of resources, and the green economy, which encompassing the bio and circular economy, will keep the economic growth, societal and environmental well-being in balance, leading to sustainable development. Each component is not new and has been applied in many countries as one of the sustainable development approaches. Thailand combines all three aspects, B and C and G, to make sure that our economy will rely on the national strength with our biodiversity and cultural biodiversity, while using science, technology, and innovation to raise national competitiveness, strengthen communities, and restore and protect environment. The BCG economy models place particular focus on four important sectors in Thailand: food and agriculture, medical and wellness, energy, material and biochemicals, and tourism and creative economy. The four sectors span on top of Thailand's richness on biodiversity to cultural diversity, and with the right intervention of policy and management, science, technology and innovation development, and participation of all sectors in quadruple helix manner, the BCG model will be the way forward for future development of Thailand. BCG is in line with Thailand's 20 years national strategy, and it certainly enables Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, through the promotion of sustainable agriculture, clean energy, and responsible consumption and production. The principle of BCG is to create value from biodiversity, bioresources, and waste. By using STI, higher value of products can be created. For example, instead of selling rice for commodity, by introducing biotechnology, special ingredients or chemicals can be extracted from rice and use it in nutraceutical with higher market value. This value creation concept can also be applied in material and energy, health, and tourism. The 5-year BCG action plan sets a vision to create sustainable and quality growth with science, technology, and innovation. The action plan is based on 4 strategies. First, to promote sustainability of biological resources. Second, to strengthen communities and grassroots economy. Third, to build resilience to global changes. And last, to enhance sustainable competitiveness of Thai BCG industry. As BCG economy model involves all sectors in the society, including public, private, academic, and research, communities, and international alliances. A structure and mechanisms of BCG economy have to be set in place for administration as well as monitoring and evaluations. 3 levels of committees have been set up to oversee the BCG implementation. This consists of BCG Policy Board, which is chaired by the Prime Minister himself. The BCG Implementation Committees, chaired by the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research, and Innovation. And 11 BCG subcommittees for each specific sector as shown in this slide. National Science and Technology Development Agency, or NASDA, has been assigned to be the secretariat of the first 2 committees and also secretariats of all subcommittees to ensure the seamless operation among all sectors. From these BCG committees, 13 policy measures have been proposed as listed on this slide. But let me mention only a few that may be of your interest. For example, to transform agriculture system to produce premium and safe products, diversify farm products, increase farmers' access to knowledge and technology, and promote sustainable agriculture. To build a bio-based economy by employing advanced technology to develop and produce high-value products, such as functional ingredients, biochemicals, drugs, and vaccines. To promote the development and production of sustainable goods and services with green technology and circular design, and to promote international collaboration in all facets, including knowledge creation and talent mobility. We expect that BCG model will make significant impact in 4 aspects, namely sustainability of resources and the environment by reducing natural resource consumption and greenhouse gas emissions. Socio-economic prosperity by improving income inequality, health and quality of life, and energy security. Sustainable economic growth by raising economic value of the BCG industries with high-value goods and services and more income to the grassroots. And self-reliance by enhancing skill of our workforce and creating more startups and innovation-driven enterprises and improving technological self-reliance. Now, I would like to take these opportunities to show you some investments and activities to support the BCG economy agenda. These have been carried out by several government agencies as well as through the support of private partnership. One of the largest infrastructure to support BCG is the Eastern Economic Corridor of Innovation, or EECI. It has been set up in Wangchan Valley, Rayong province, eastern part of Thailand. The primary objective of EECI is to connect research and investment across Thailand to support BCG industries. Translational infrastructure to support technology scaling up and technology localization are being invested at the EECI and some of the EACI facilities have already opened for services. Shown here in the slides are some of the infrastructure being developed at EACI. For example, biorefinery, pilot plant factory, smart manufacturing center, and alternative battery pilot plants for non-lithium specialty battery. One of these facilities at EACI that support bioeconomy of BCG is biorefinery facility. It will support BCG as an open platform for scaling up and conducting the techno-economic feasibility study. It will focus on development of technology to convert agricultural products and wastes into higher value ingredients and products for several industries, including food supplements, nutraceuticals, cosmeceuticals, biochemicals, and bio-based materials. The biorefinery pilot plant will be ready in the late 2023 under the management of Biobase Asia, a joint venture between NASDAQ and Biobase Europe. Although we don't have any example of cases from the EECI yet, we could give some example of BCG in action in Thailand as follows. There are more and more examples from private sectors who adopt BCG economy model to transform their business with technology and innovation, so they will be more competitive in global markets. As shown in these slides, there are companies develop new business in alternative protein, advanced biotechnology, and biorefinery, bioplastics, as mentioned in previous slide. Corbion Purak and Total Corbion have set up their factory in Thailand to make lactic acid and polylactic acid, or PLA, from local feedstock, while Vinyl Thai, a local company, has set up a subsidiary to produce bioepic chlorohydrin locally. Midpon Group, a Thai company that is among the top 5 sugar producers in the world, is ramping up their fructooligosaccharides production in Thailand. In the area of agriculture, BCG Subcommittee on Agriculture and Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperative promote the transformation of agriculture system to embrace BCG concept. Using public-private people partnership approach in 5 provinces, namely Ratchaburi, Lampang, Khon Kaen, Chanthaburi, and Pathalung. Models have been applied to sugarcane, coconuts, and pig and cattle. There are also several progresses reflecting the BCG in action in environment and moving toward the carbon neutrality. For example, introduction of carbon neutrality measure to promote clean energy, greenhouse gas reduction, reforestation, and circular design. The carbon credit exchanging platform has been developed by the Federation of Thai Industry, or FTI, and Thailand Greenhouse Gas Management Organization, or TGO. The other example is a regulation on offering 90% carbon credit to enterprises participating in the forestry carbon project announced recently by the Department of Marine and Coastal Resources and the Royal Forest Department. As mentioned earlier, about 13 mechanisms to drive BCG policy, manpower, and international collaboration are 2 of them. NASDAQ has played a leading role in driving the BCG into concrete action by implementing the goal of BCG Action Plan in human resource development. For Thailand to have high-skilled workforce and high-paying jobs to drive the country out of the middle income trap. The action plan has 4 distinct objectives: to create a system that will produce skilled manpower to support each BCG sector, to develop workforce for industry of the future to upskill current workforce, and lastly, to nurture next generation entrepreneurs to drive sustainable economic growth. The action plan consists of 4 strategies, each with different target groups. The first one focuses on entrepreneurship development, targeting startup innovation-driven enterprise, as well as villagers running small business and community enterprises. The second strategy is to develop workforce to support community developments and grassroots economy. The third strategy intends to strengthen research, development, and innovation capacity in the government, industry, and academic domains. The fourth strategy aims to train and retrain current workforce to fit with the new requirements of industries. For global partnership, we believe that BCG action is one of the key elements to directly drive the Sustainable Development Goal or SDG. It is also in line with several trends of many countries, for example, EU Green Deal, Green Growth Strategy by Japan, carbon neutrality pledge by the US and China. Thailand, together with countries in ASEAN, has proposed a formation of ASEAN BCG network to serve as a gateway to catalyze collaboration within ASEAN and with other regions in research, technology demonstration, technology localization, and potential commercialization on BCG. BCG economy models in action plan to move forward with the UN SDGs. Or in the other words, BCG could be an action plan to drive the UN SDG to achieve their targets. For example, B or bioeconomy could support the goal number 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And C and G could also drive other goals as shown here. Together with all international partners, ASEAN, APEC, and all global partnerships, we could work together to tackle our current global challenges. This year, 2022, is Thailand's APEC host year. NASDAQ, with the Office of Permanent Secretary of MESI and 40 local and international partners organized APEC BCG Economy Thailand 2022 Text to Bits on 10 to 11 October 2022 as one of the kick-off events. Highlights of the event include keynote lectures, special talks, seminars featuring speakers from APEC economies, the 10 technologies to watch, session for investment pitching, and the APEC Economy Pavilion presenting highlights of APEC member economies and displaying IP marketplace for investors and entrepreneurs. The endeavor to develop sustainable economy cannot be done alone. As a scientific agency, NASDAQ is ready to support in both insights and network across sectors and across the world to help Thailand and our stakeholders move forward together with the BCG economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sukit, for sharing insights on the status of BCG in Thailand, and in particular, the connection between innovation and economy and the role of science and technology. Thank you for guiding us through the various government BCG policies, programs, and projects where NASDAQ takes active role. Our next speaker is Dr. Aran Kabukanan, Director, Research and Academic Services Center for Environmental Assessment and Sustainability, Faculty of Environment and Resource Studies, Mahidol University. Dr. Alan Tabukanan's expertise is in urban engineering from the University of Tokyo, Japan, with particular interest on the impact of climate change in urban areas, as well as sustainability in higher education. He previously served as researcher at the Pacific Consultant Institute for Global Environment Research based in Japan, where he was involved in various climate-related projects, including the development of Bangkok Master Plan on Climate Change 2013 to 2023. He also served as analyst on technical and policy support at the Petroleum Institute of Thailand. Dr. Alan Tabukanan will speak on circular economy model for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and the role of higher education. Dr. Alan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Khun Montip, for your kind introduction. Hi again, my name is Alan S. Tabukanan from Mahidol University. It is my honor to be here today to provide you some presentation in the perspective of academic institute regarding the BCG economy model. So please allow me to share the screen first. Okay, I hope everyone can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much for your confirmation. So my talk perhaps slightly different from others because I am from academic field, so mostly based on the theoretical talk. So my topic is the circular economy model for the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and the role of higher education. Because I am from university, of course. So sustainable development is a moral imperative and a global call to action. This is the quote that undoubtedly no objection. But why? So please allow me to talk a little bit why we need to be able to grow sustainably in the future for our next generation. So in this picture, is show ecological footprint. Ecological footprint is a kind of measurement that how fast we consume resource and generate waste compared to how fast nature can absorb our waste and generate resources. So since around 1970, industrial revolution after World War II, you can see that this graph illustrates that we overuse the ecological resources. Its trend is gradually, I don't use the word gradually, dramatically increase more and more. And if this trend still continue, it is predicted that in the future, near future, we will have problem with the natural resource security, supply security, and the natural resource price volatility. So there are many concerns now recently on this trend. And this is the example of what we consume more water, we emit more CO2 concentrations, we have more number of cars that emit pollutants, we use a lot of fertilizers, for growing plants to serve human in the world. We lost a lot of rainforest, especially the Amazon, the lung of the world. We need more paper for doing things, but recently we have iPad. Perhaps it will decrease trend. And fishery fully exploited is also increasing, and I believe it's still increasing. The data is not so new, but the trend I believe is still the same. So one of the main reasons is the population. This is the global population projected by United Nations from 1950 to around 2020, and then there are a kind of modeling to project the population in the future. And you can see the trend that is even though there is the logarithmic trend, but anyway, it's still increasing quickly from the beginning until 2060, and then gradually increasing until 2100. So more population means more consumption of natural resources. And the Living Planet Index is measure the average decline in monitor wildlife populations. So we set the 1970 as the best year. So we set 100. And you can see the wildlife population, their diversity, reducing more than 60% now up to 2018. So the value change in abundance in 31,000 populations across 5,230 species relative to the year 1970. So it's a kind of the warning that we are overuse a lot of natural resources, and we need to do something, or we need to we need the transition of our behaviors or economical implementations, so the trend will stop, continue to be more worse and more worse. So for higher education, of course, we serve to need for clear understanding of what sustainability is about, from awareness, knowledge to practice, and the opportunities of the circular economy model and BCG in particular, and its contribution to climate change mitigation and adaptation. There are several journal papers, academic journal papers already conclude that the higher education is one of the main gear or main actors who educate the students, the parents, the public people to understand what is sustainable development, what is sustainability, what is bio-BCG, by leading by example. So university should be the good example for others first, before others follow the university performance. For example, if the university have a good waste sorting, so students also can learn how to do the waste sorting correctly, and they can later on go into society and share the correct knowledge and useful knowledge to others in the societies. So this, I will skip this one. This is a dimension of sustainable development. You already know it consists of economic, environmental, and social. But importantly, these have to be underpinned by cultural considerations. If it is not culture, it's not sustainable. It's just the short time implementations. So sustainable development, economic development that is socially inclusive and environmentally sustainable. So there are three keywords: economic, social, and environment. the balancement of these three pillars. So there are concept of 5P. You can see there are 17 SDGs. So we have planet represent the environment. But SDG 6, 12, 13, 14, 15. People represent the social dimensions. It consists of 4, SDG 4, quality education, 5, gender equality, no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being. And prosperity represents the economics, consists of reduced inequalities, sustainable and the commodities, and affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, and the last one is the innovation and infrastructures. And it also have other 2P. We have peace and partnership. Without partnership, others P can't be achieved. It is very clear. We need partnership from every state, from government, from private sectors, from everyone in this world globally. So the approach to sustainability, one of the important concepts is the circular economy model. These circular economy models, think about like this, the current trend, not current trend, I think perhaps is maybe 5 or 6 years ago trend. We are in the current linear economic model, means we take the product, we make products, we sell products, we use, and then we dispose. So it's a linear, right? It's a linear. So it generates considerable growth in prosperity, of course, because the cost may be not so expensive. It just throw away society, something like that. The year after World War II, however, it increased resource use and led to development of a consumption, use, and throw away society. So since we are living in a finite world, the linear model is not sustainable, of course, because we keep using the natural resource with low efficiency. It is destructive to the economy, society, and planet. So it is also further assumed that every decade there will be more 500 to 750 million population per decade in the next coming until 2050, and the material resource use may double from 2015 to 2050. So you can imagine how the Earth can provide natural resource adequately for the population, like 8 or 9 billion people around the world. So we need the switching from the linear to circular economic model. It is quite imperative now. We believe that like that. So the circular economy model is a new products assets and are designs produced in a way that reduce virgin material consumption and waste generations, and also optimize capacity utilization, extend useful life of products and assets. So first we reduce the material, the virgin material, and we try to use the use one as the material input. That's so we can reduce the waste generation. We try to extend the life of the product or commodities so it can be used longer and it can be more durable and go into the waste with the longer time than current period. So the resource and material loops are closed through recycling of end-of-life products and materials. Waste is minimized by designing products and industrial processes so that resources are kept in use in a perpetual flow. So the perpetual flow is a kind of the ideal things, but I hope that in the future we can do it in this thing. And by ensuring that unavoidable waste or residues are recycled or recovered. So this one is the Ellen MacArthur Foundation illustration of circular economy. We can separate into two cycles. The left side, this side is the biological cycle in which residues are returned to nature after use. You can see here, we collect and we try to extract, we try to make it in the methane, or we try to make it as a fertilizer and whatsoever, and return back to the natures. But in another cycles, it's a technological cycles. When products, components, or materials are designed to market to minimize waste. So they try to maximally utilize all materials and try with aim to reduce the waste as much as possible. So this is the two cycle in this Ellen MacArthur Foundation illustration of circular economy. So this is what I mentioned later, I already mentioned earlier. So this is key economies. We have circular economy. We have green economy, means we use environmentally friendly technology, and the output, the outsource or the emission is not is environmentally friendly. We use bioeconomy as the input. We try to enhance the use of the bioresources. So this kind of three combination become BCG model. So the circular economy models in conclusion is that in the simple definition is the maximizing the use of pure non-toxic materials and products designed to be easily maintained, reused, repaired, or refurbished to extend their useful life, and later to be easily disassembled and recycled into new products with minimization of wastage at all stages of the extraction, production, and consumption cycle. So way of producing and consuming this economic growth from the extraction and consumption of materials offer a way to hedge future resource and material supply chain risk. Is important keyword, future resource and material supply chain risk that we have seen now is about energy, right? From EU side or iron ore, something like that, and increase company resilience. Reduce resource dependency, spur innovation, and increase competitiveness. So they are, we call the opportunity to why now is the time for circular economy models. There are three things, three reasons. The first one is a resource constraint. So with global resource demand growing quickly, there is increasing concern about looming the shortages of critical raw materials and also water. So they are also concerned the security of the natural resource, the raw data, the raw material, apology. And the second one is technological development, is the introduction of new technologies, notably the Internet of Things and big data tools, is enabling the development and introduction of a new circular economy business models, often based on sharing and leasing, but also reuse and remanufacturing. New technical systems and tools enable the tracking, or products or materials during their life to enable extend use life and maintain the highest possible values. And the socio-economic development, so the population will rise to 6 in 10 by 2030 in the urban area. Now we are 50%, so now we are going more and more in the urban area. This is why it become good opportunities, because urbanization supports the development of circular models, since the urban area can easily host cost-effective collection and return systems for goods, materials, and other resources, and thus promote the closing of circular loops, as well as asset sharing schemes and systems for product reuse. So in the urban, that is a good environment condition for the circular economy. So there are 4 circular economic business model. I'm not going to detail. So we have circular design models. These products are designed to last longer or to be easy to maintain, repair, upgrade, refurbish, remanufacture, or recycle. And additionally, new materials are developed and or sourced or fully recyclable. So this is emphasize on the design and manufacturing phase, and the optimal use models emphasizing on the use phase. So aim to increase the value and use of a product during extended life. So we providing service rather than selling the products. We try to make it longer. We provide a repair service, something like that, and we take responsibility for the product throughout its useful life. So this is the optimal use models. And the last, the third one is the value recovery models is in the last phase. So we try to maximizing the recovery and recycling of products and materials after use into new products or useful resource in order to reduce wastage and conserve resources. But these 3 is perhaps impossible without the 4th one, circular support models. So it's focused on management and coordination of circular clear networks and resource flows, and optimizing incentives and other supporting activities in the circular networks is a kind of the support to implement such 3 models. So the relationship to climate change and environmental sustainability. So the linear resource wasting model is depleting the Earth's natural capitals, the associated pressure on the Earth ecosystem, and the absorption capacity, essential for human survival, will bring irreversible and natural change to the environment and climate. So there are 3 relationships between circular economy, climate change, and environmental support. The natural resource exploitation is linked with biodiversity loss, as well as water and soil pollution, also depletion, of course, reduced extraction of materials, sustainable land use and rehabilitation, ecosystem protection, resource efficiency, and renewable energy source are all linked to the circular economic model. So that's why we need to promote the circular economic models. So this is about the greenhouse gas. It's very important. It's a promising concept that the potential to reduce greenhouse gas emission by shifting to a circular economy is substantial, achieved mainly through improving resource efficiency, extending the useful life of buildings and assets, increased recycling and reuse, and an absolute reduction in the use of primary raw materials. So for higher education institute, we need to step up efforts to enable the SDGs. So there are the Education for Sustainable Development for 2030 frameworks roadmap towards achieving SDG. Consists of the 5 priority action areas, advancing policy, we support the government transforming learning environments. So we make the university as the like the living lab. And the third one, building capacity of educators and trainers, of course, is our job. We have to making more educators and trainers, empowering and mobilizing youth, accelerating sustainable solutions at local level. Not only inside the university, we also need to contribute or promote BCG to the neighborhood society. So they can, because they have close relationship with the university, so it is not difficult for us to approach them and promote new concept of the administration. So this is 5 things that higher education institute can be done. So thank you very much for your kind attention and opportunities for this presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Alan Tabukanan, for digging into the principles and methodology of circular economy and the role of higher education in understanding this new economic development paradigm. I have been privileged and honored to moderate the past 4 BCG seminars and this conference, and I myself have learned tremendously through the process. It is also my great pleasure for me to make a presentation on the summary, findings and conclusions from the 4 seminars. So I'd like to conclude by providing the summary of the 4 seminars. So please. I'm going to present an overview of the project on Thailand's bio-circular green economy model, awareness raising, capacity building, and international perspectives, and the findings from the seminar series on focus key sectors in Thailand. The bio-circular green economy model underpins Thailand 4.0 for inclusive and sustainable growth. It is an integration of bioeconomy, circular economy, and green economy. The BCG model represents a strategy to drive the country's economic and social development, and as such, the BCG model is expected to provide such impetus for implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals. A series of online seminars were delivered on the theme of Thailand's bio-circular green economy model, awareness raising, capacity building, and international perspectives. The National Research Council of Thailand supported Mahidol University in collaboration with the United Nations Resident Coordinator's Office, UN Thailand, National Science and Technology Development Agency, Office of the National Economic Social Development Council, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Asian Institute of Technology to deliver a series of seminars. The series of 4 online seminars were delivered covering the 4 sectors of which the BCG model focused in Thailand. The first one, BCG and the food and agriculture sector. Second one, BCG and the health and well-being sector. The third one, BCG and the bioenergy, biomaterial, and biochemical sector. And the last one, BCG and the tourism and creative economy sector. The seminar series that we organized provided a detailed focus on each BCG relevant development sector, explaining how the BCG model relates to each sector and presenting various initiatives demonstrating actual and or proposed application of BCG in Thailand according to 5 pillars, namely governance, human resource, science and technology, and research and innovation, partnership and collaboration, and finance and investment. Here are the overall findings. On governance, Thailand would play a crucial role in leading, for example, on the comprehensive green recovery and BCG transition in the region. The BCG implementation is a transformative process that enables Thailand to accelerate climate action, as the government is committed to undertake quite changing actions toward sustainable and inclusive growth, and to ensure success in implementing in the BCG model. All the related sectors should avoid working in silos. Strengthening the communication and cooperation is very important. So the promotion of community-based services could achieve inclusive approach, and also the development of civil society organizations is necessary. I think especially in country where the governance system is based on sectoral infrastructure. And BCG implementation needs to be inclusive, to have no one left behind within the whole array of population. Aging society is also needed to be considered ahead. If there is a policy related to enhancement and dissemination of information available, that would be a good way to move forward to the advanced BCG implementation. And BCG model, through a whole of society approach, aims to use assets while minimizing negative impact on the environment. And collectively, all government sectors, private sector, and academic can bring Thailand back on track towards a healthier, cleaner, and more inclusive economy as pandemic gradually subside. In continuing on governance, I think the policy makers should actually establish the BCG Economy Roundtable to serve as a platform for networking and knowledge exchange. And also innovation should be responsible to have a flexible policy design, which is based on evidence and science. And since the Thai cabinet conclude the BCG in its national development agenda, the government aims at achieving 3 dimensions in growth, namely inclusiveness, balance, and sustainability. And it is very important to link the United Nations or UN Women Guiding Principles with the SDGs and on the gender responsiveness in circular economy and sustainable consumption and production and opportunities for women. On human resource, advancing BCG economy model implementation in Thailand is faced with challenges and impediments, since the concept is not still well understood, and there is still lack of awareness, including within the small and medium enterprise or SME sector. There are opportunities to advance the BCG economy concept by connecting people, creating networks, and sharing good examples of BCG economy practices from around the world. Farmers, for instance, could also be equipped with the knowledge and technical skills. And also transformation of BCG economy require investment in green technological innovation, resource efficiency, sustainable production technology, and logistical infrastructure throughout the supply chain need to be stepped up and supported by science, technology, research, and innovation. And technological innovation from the academia or research institutes should be popularized to private sector actors and farmers to achieve food and agriculture sustainable development, and policy intervention from the government and sharing local technology by international organizations are also of importance. Raising awareness and encouraging more private sector and individuals to participate would also be transformed for food and agriculture in achieving the SDGs. The problems-oriented research from academia should be conducted and benefit delivered to the communities. In our findings, empowering people and enhancing information availability on science, technology, research, and innovation for advancing BCG implementation. Promoting BCG model in Thailand should be noted that science and evidence-based policy making, often known as the interaction of science, practice, and society, is crucial. And the role of the United Nations through its various agencies, as well as other international and non-governmental organizations, academia, and private sectors is essential in upscaling the BCG programs and projects to the national level and other regions of the country. Technological innovation plus novel knowledge creation from academia or research institutions should be carefully selected and encouraged. For partnership and collaborations, government sectors ought to work together with the communities to advance the BCG economy concept. And in this regard, it is important to promote the 5P, public, private, professional, people, partnership concept, and the role of the United Nations through its various agencies, as well as other international organizations, are essential in upscaling pilot projects to the national level through sharing of best practices and policies. The need of interaction among sectors could benefit from support and facilitation of international organizations. The facilitating role of international organizations is important in terms of sharing knowledge, especially in amplifying local technology. As for international organizations, global knowledge and experience sharing and education should be a priority. Promoting BCG economy model in health and well-being society, for instance, should make all related sectors collaborate together, especially the government and communities. And industry should be partnered with the various stakeholders to participate in pilot projects, explore new investments in BCG, especially or mainstream BCG policies into company policies and establish company-wide commitments to BCG economy internally and externally. Strong partnerships between the academic and scientific community, business sector, government sector, civil society, international organizations, and a variety of stakeholders are necessary to achieve the UN 2030 agenda and SDGs. Investment in research and innovation is rather low still in Thailand. That needs a holistic approach and to develop research and development as well as innovation. Effective policy intervention is needed, especially on technology and innovation. The process of implementation would entail building capacities of human resources to be conversant and skillful of the BCG economy methodology and practice, and this would require investments in science, technology, research, and innovation, especially in the health and well-being sector. We could liberalize more on the market structure to allow the private sector to participate in the trade among themselves. For instance, focusing on carbon pricing and domestic carbon market, smart grids, and energy trading platform, biofuels, efficient productions, improvement of crop yields, modern biotechnology for crop production, and bioplastics. The process of implementation would entail building capacities of human resources of the BCG economy, methodology, and practice. And this would require investment in science, technology, research, and innovation, especially in the bioenergy, biomaterial, and biochemical sector. And in conclusions, effective implementation of the BCG economy model rests on 4 pillars: governance, human resource, science and technology, and research and innovation, partnership and collaboration, and finance and investment. And these pillars need to be strengthened as Thailand moves ahead to having a BCG economy. The issues are similar across sectors, and hence it would be feasible to adopt coherent BCG policies. So effective implementations of BCG economy model rests on 4 pillars: governance, human resource, science and technology, and research and innovation, partnership and collaboration, and lastly, finance and investment. So these pillars need to be strengthened as Thailand moves ahead to having a BCG economy. And the issues are similar across sectors. Hence, it would be feasible to adopt coherent BCG policies across all levels. Thank you very much for your kind attention. So we are profoundly grateful to all our distinguished speakers for their insightful and fascinating presentations, not only at this conference, but in all the 4 previous seminars we successfully delivered. They have shared useful knowledge and experience on the principles, methodology, and practice of BCG for the achievement of Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. So we have come to the end of the conference, which wraps up and culminates the seminar series on bio-circular green economy model, awareness raising, capacity building, and international perspectives. It was a real productive and insightful series of events with valuable information shared and discussed by the speakers. So we conclude the conference. We are very much appreciate your participation and thank you so much. All the best. Stay safe. Goodbye and สวัสดีค่ะ